In this video, I want to talk a little bit about the search that we run through our ServiceNow service portal, and kind of how the relevance is calculated on there in terms of, and also maybe more importantly, how if you want to move one record type, say knowledge articles above catalog items, kind of how you would do that. So let me start with just kind of showing a search. So I'll do a search for iPhone. And what you're going to find in this search is you'll see part of the result sets here is this relevance score. And we're basically sorting the results by this relevance score with 19, 16, 11, 11, and 10 at top. And you can change the sort in terms of doing sorting by sort description, sorting by update date. So they can adjust that to see, to slice and dice or move the contents around. But by default, we're going by this score. So what the score is in essence what we're doing is if you go to, let's say, catalog items as an example, and if you come back over, if I come back over here, you'll see there's 4 catalog items in here that are returned. We're basically coming in here and we're running this for text search for iPhone, and this is the same exact operation we're doing through the portal as what you can do through the native UI to run a full text search. The only thing we're doing in addition is on our card object definitions there are some additional append queries there to only show active records, to hide administrative catalog items, and you can extend that as well. Maybe you want to hide items that have no search set to true. So in essence we're whittling this down, but the key here is that we're running for keyword searches. You can kind of run the same operation through the native UI as you would through there. Now where the score comes from, and let me show you this from kind of a script perspective. So if I run a background script that basically does the same thing that we just did in the portal, and this one's going to loop through our catalog item table and our knowledge table, initialize them, run that full text search code for the word iPad, and then return the different results and show you that here's the score we get back. And this is what I wanted to highlight is the actual, if you run a full text search, it's going to add in the result sets a column that only exists when you run this full text search, and that's this IR query score column. Now this is how ServiceNow's full text search engine returns back a relevance score. So this is not something we control within our ServiceNow, within our portal application. And I would encourage, if you want to see more about how this is calculated, look at the wiki pages for ServiceNow. There are ways in which you can manipulate the dictionary entries to say which attribute should be part of the full text score, how much each attribute is weighted, and then in general what it's doing is looking through for the term, how often it's found within those different attributes, and deriving kind of a score. So when I run this, we'll get back here as the different records, and it had a score of 9, 6, 1, 10, and then we're sorting this based off of highest score down to the bottom. Now, so let's say that if I want one type of record to show up higher than the other, right? So if I were to come back to my results here, one thing you will see if I refresh this again back to where we started is you'll see the catalog items are showing up above. And have a score of 19, 16, 11, 11. If I compare that to what I just ran in the script, those are different. So what we're doing is in part of this script, we're kind of boosting the catalog item records, adding to their score. And how we're doing that is on the actual card object itself. If I go to SC_cat item or the catalog item record, we have a card object attribute down here called xWeight. So this is the attribute that we're actually we're defining or setting. That's that relevance score attribute. And by default, we're setting it to 100, and then we're setting it if that IR query score or field is in the result set. Then we're setting it to that IR query score, and it's basically just passing through whatever the relevance score is that the full text search is. But what you can do is you can set it as an attribute here and kind of manipulate that score. And we're doing something very simple here by saying if this attribute is in existence or is defined. So basically this kind of tells me, this first line tells me that this was a full text search that was run. So if that was run, then we're going to set the answer to the kind of turning this into an integer and then adding 10 to it. So that's why you're seeing that kind of the value being 10 more than what I ran in the native UI. So we're basically boosting, adding to this score. So I could do the same thing. Let's say, for example, over here, I really wanted knowledge articles to always show up at the top. So the way I would do that is I would go to, say, the knowledge records here, go in and add a new attribute, call this X weight, set this to override from the server storage, and maybe I'm just going to exaggerate here and put like a 500 score, save that, and now when I go and I refresh this page content, and I rerun my search now, the knowledge article related to iPhone 6 shows up at the top because it's got a score of 510, which vastly outweighs these double-digit kind of scores. So that kind of covers what I wanted to cover, just to kind of show you that how we take the IR query score attribute, kind of pass that through, and then how you can use the card object attribute to kind of calculate or boost kind of one score versus the other. And again, you can write scripts in there, so if there was conditionals as to whether or not the particular score or certain attributes of the search were a certain way, maybe you would add to it or not add to it based off of certain conditions. So I hope this was helpful, and I thank you for your time.